We are better late than never, folks. But welcome. Oh, I've nearly left the session. What a turnout that would have been. But we are here. Season number 9. It's not quite F123, is it, though? We've got a special one-off, well, potentially one-off event tonight. It is, of course, the CRL multi-league charity event, all in aid of the Mind organisation, a mental health charity that we're trying to raise a bit of funds through combining 5 leagues here together for a special, like I said, one-off event. A little bit of a rush start here. I was hoping to get a bit more time in, go through the lineups, tell you about everybody that is here. But one man that I think I need to introduce first donated for tonight from one of our interim teams, WTFL Wears the Finish Line. It's their very own owner, one of a driver that you lads here in CRL will be familiar with. It's the one and only WTFL Curly. Curly, thank you at very short notice, I must say, for jumping in the comms box with me tonight. How are you feeling? How are you ready for this? This is the first big event CRL sort of hosted. And imagine it's maybe the first event WTFL. You're quite a new league on the scene. It's maybe been involved in. You must be buzzing for this tonight.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it, mate. And thank you very much for having me, to be fair. I would say I fancy our chances, which to be honest, obviously they got the LOL, is it? The League of...
LOI, League of Ireland, yeah.
LOI. Why did I say, wait, LOL? No, LOI. we got a few good, a couple of good drivers in Tom and Rapid. You might hear me call him Kieran, by the way, because I'm so used to calling him Kieran. But yeah, it's Rapid. Obviously, we got Ian, aka Marshall, who put up a good championship battle in Tier 4 as well in CRL, and obviously we got Apex as well in the first race. So, but yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting with 4 good leagues in it. It's going to be interesting indeed.
5 good leads, 4 drivers, PRP snaking around off our 20. 5. Yep, and I'll just run you quickly through them. We, of course, have Curly and Ian's very own Where's the Finish Line Racing League. We also have the European Racing Organisation, headed up by our very own Cross Liam, Tier 2 champion here in CRL. League of Ireland, like you said, also join us alongside Formula Racing League. A few must be said, and of course, it wouldn't be a CRL event without CRL. And you might have noticed as well, Curly, we are in the multiplayer cars. Every team has went out and put in a nice little bit of effort to get a lovely livery together. And one-shot qualifying as well. It's going to be very fast-paced, it must be said. We've got a mix of variety of pace and maybe expectations. But the most important thing, we're here for a little bit of charity, a little bit of fun, and just bringing the community together at the end of this game. I'm on board then with FVR Urun. It must be said, a big shout out to him. He's filling in a gap in our lineup. We had a driver pull out late. He is filling in and currently looking good for a pole shot. Finn Nexo, I don't have much information on him. He is from Formula Racing League up in P3, but it is a CRL 1-2 at the moment. FRL, must be stated, isn't with the FRL racing tonight, Curly. This will get confusing, I can assure you. He's with a different FRL, but is affiliated with CRL, a good friend of ours.
Sorry to interrupt. Obviously, apart from our livery, who's in what colours? Obviously, CRL, you're in orange. Let's have a look. So, JB, ERL are in white. I'm just looking here so I know. Finn. Yep, I think I got it.
They got there. Rotation then crosses the line to take pole for the orange of CRL. XL Sully and LOI. LOI, of course, in the white, green and orange. And ERO, I believe, in the white, black and orange, so that won't get confusing. FRL in their blue and red. CRL in, of course, the famous orange and black. And I didn't quite catch WTFL, but I know the perfect man to tell me. What are your colours here tonight, Curly?
Black.
Blue and black.
Well, he would say blue and grey, but I say blue and black.
Slightly. It depends on the lighting, I suppose. Depends on the lighting. There we go then, Curly. One-shot qualifying done. It is, of course, going to be the British Grand Prix for the first of 2 races. Yes, you heard me right. 2 races here tonight. Rotation on pole for CRL. XL Sully, the LOI driver, taking P2 ahead of Tom GoProf. WTFL in P3. Finn Nex, FRL in P4. Rapid F1 up there in P5. 2 WTFL drivers in that top 5. Sport Crazy, another another FRL driver up there, ERL Golden, of course, ERO, and then 2 of the Irishmen, 8 and 9, and you know, see when you're trying to list off a number of names that you're just getting used to and you're not quite sure who to team before. We only got down to number 9, but I'm sure you've seen the business end of it. I'm sure you've seen the rest. Well, we'll get into qualifying then. Let's have a little look about what we are helping, who we are helping. It is, of course, Mind Charity, and what they're all about. They are all about giving people that are maybe going through mental health problems or supporting someone going through mental health problems that little bit of just a little boost, you know, to improve services, to raise awareness, and just promote a bit of understanding. They do brilliant work all across the UK, and particularly across the whole of Scotland, Ireland, England, and Wales. A lot of, you might have seen them before. They do a lot of celebrity work and influencer work. Been involved in quite a few charities. There will be a link. It should be in the description now. If not, Nathan, Jacob, Dan, make yourself useful. Get it down there for me, please. To go to our GoFundMe page. We're aiming for a total of £250 tonight. That would be an absolute amazing.
Sorry, Scott. Just like obviously, mental health is obviously a big issue. You know what I mean? So it's a good charity to get into, guys. So please go across to the people in my chat. Please go across and donate because mental health, as I said, you know, it is something you don't really want to. How can I put this? It's not something you want to put up with. You know, something you don't want to have. You know, so guys, please go across and donate to the charity, guys. Try and raise that 250. Be very much appreciated.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself. It is one of those charities that do such amazing work all across the country, and I think an epitome, you know, of League racing. For a lot of us, I know myself, I got into it during the days of lockdown. That I know it seems a while ago back. Hinked in themselves, they were locked in themselves. Well, a lot of us, myself included, we turned to the League racing scene, and what a scene and what a community it's really built. And it does, maybe in small ways, maybe in big ways for different people, it does help. And charities like this do a big thing as well. So, yep, 250 is the goal. I'm praying. I've got every bit of confidence we can make it.
Let's see if we can double that. So, right, quick question to you, Scott. Without being biased, which livery is your favourite? You can't pick your own league.
Well, a big shout out then to the gold and brown, or gold and black, sorry, of CRL. XL Sully, the LOI, a nice combination, of course, the Irish flag, the white, detailed with the green and orange, very smart. Your livery, of course, it's a really nice shade of blue, complemented with that black grey colour. It is kind of grey. I'm going to have to agree with Marshall here.
I think I went with gloss, or was it? I can't remember what it was. Obviously, you can change it to gloss or metallic or whatever to make it look kind of grey black. If you know what I mean, bit of both. So that's why it might look a bit grey with it. So just to keep Ian happy.
fair enough. Yeah, it is a really nice livery. FRL we've seen as well there, the blue with the accent of red, and then ERO, the white and gold. They're all pretty impressive. For me, aside from CRL, it's obviously going to be my favourite. LOI, it reminds me of the old school Force India, you know, from the late 2008, 2009. Yep. But enough of all that. We're here for some racing. 5 red lights here around Silverstone, and it is away we go. Rotation from pole on the hards. He's got Sully lined up side on the medium. Slim Jim further down the pack has made a good jump up off the line. It seems a little bit of mixing and shaking as they go for the first thing. Yellow flags.
Sorry, we've got FRL Jerome. He's gone for a bit of spin at the back. He is fallen down. So yeah, sorry to interrupt, but he has he's down at the back.
Down at the back. Doesn't look to be much damage on that CRL car. He'll be trying to power through the grid, of course. Our Season 6 Tier 1 champion, not making the name and impact that some would have thought. Not Jack, another Season 8 CRL Tier 1 driver. He's making a look on Craigo, one of our long-standing members, the battle for P12. Cross Liam switching places with LOI Colin B for P9 as there seems to be a little spin of Golden, ERO Golden, sorry, dropping down through the pack as XL Sully has made the move for the lead. I love races like this, Curly. There's so much different paces, there's so much different potential, and of course it's the end of game cycle. The grid's mixed.
Yeah, can I just say that Rapid has gone from, where have we gone, P5 to P3? Or did Yeah, I think he went from P5 to P3.
Making a 2-positional jump, getting ahead of his teammate tonight, Tom Prof. Two very, very fast drivers, it must be said. Good consistency, particularly from Tom. I know that from experience. Finn Nell, or Finn Nex, I think I'll call him.
Ooh.
He's currently down to P6 as Cross Liam has had a spin at the final corner and dropping down all the way to P20. The ERO driver not having a great start to this race.
He actually touched the driver in front of him. I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, the driver, he actually had a little touch with the driver in front of him, so that's why he's now back down there.
Back down the pack, CRL Pancake, formerly known as FGFC, losing it through turn 1. Colin B picking up a 10-second time penalty as well for track limits. Not quite sure what that was for. I'm going to keep an eye now on LY Slim Jim. Now, I do have a little bit of tidbit of fact on him. I've got a little bit on some of the drivers. In fact, most of the drivers here tonight, Curly. Slim Jim almost decided to call himself Schlimmitless, which, depending who you ask, could be an amazing or dreadful name. I do like the creativity. He's got the one in there for the L just to spice it up. But yeah, that was the tidbit I got off the LOI boys for him. Definitely an interesting one. Your driver though, Tom, is right on the rear end of his teammate. You expect to see this night, of course. It's
I call him.
Exactly. It's not like a normal league race here tonight, of course, Curly. There's 4 drivers per team. There's that extra, you've got double the resources almost for every team to try and work together. And then pit stops, there's still only 10 pit boxes. Now, we don't know who's sharing a box with who.
Exactly. I was meant to say that earlier. A WTFL driver could be a teammate with a CRL team, you know what I mean? It's going to be so confusing.
You could have the 2 leaders as on board with Marshall having a spin in the final part of the track, dropping down to 17.
Apex. So Apex is gone as well. So that's 2 WTFL drivers now. Not having a good start.
A few drivers seem to be losing it, particularly in that final part of the track, maybe losing it under braking, under traction. Of course, it can be a tricky corner coming into club, and you're running out of Vale into the club section of the track, so can be a little bit tricky on the throttle. It seems to have caught a few out. Your 2 drivers up front, though, your other 2 swapping positions. Tom ahead of Rapid for P3 at the moment. They are 2 seconds adrift, or just under the 2-second mark, of course, to Rotation and Sully out front. The LOI versus CRL for the lead of this Grand Prix. Sully, though, on the mediums, the majority of grid starting on the hards. Sully, Schlim, Jay Hartnell, of course a familiar name to many here at CRL, Craigo and Cross Liam all opting to start on the mediums. The rest of the grid going for the hards. A nice little bit of sun, looks to be decently dry and no rain on the horizon. However, Carly, we know what the weather can be like round about Northampton especially. Anything could happen.
Oh man.
Just be a case of wait and see with that.
I'll just go up who's gone up and down the drivers, if that's alright, who's gone where. So guys, the biggest winners and, movers and losers, as I call them. Oh, is this Jerome gone again? Biggest movers and losers. The biggest mover, obviously there's no one to pick yet, but JB Bowles is up 9 places. ERO is at Canal. Is that how you pronounce ERO Canal down in P12? Kenny. Sorry, no. He's up 8 places, and the biggest mover and loser, as obviously don't take it the wrong way, guys, but is LOI Colin B. He's down 11 places.
Yeah, Colin having that 10-second time penalty, and he's already made an early stop as well. Not the greatest of race for Colin, but his teammates are certainly pulling along for him. Not Jack, one of them on board.
Now, by the way.
He's up to 15. Fair few penalties piling in. Maybe a little speeding into the pits. Anyway, Not Jack is one of his teammates, familiar face in Tier 1, Tier 2 and Tier 1. Of course, make the promotion up the CRL. He has got the pace to compete with the very best on this platform, it could be said. And he's currently fighting it out with Golden, who, my little tidbit for him is... He's oh yeah, that's what it was. I was looking for the right one. I've got him down as Mr. Golden Flame. That's what I always knew him as, but it's ERO Golden now. I'd love to see the coordination of the tags as Not Jack goes down the inside out of Vale, and then side by side around that final corner. Here comes Kenny though. Of course, the teammate Not Jack in an ERO sandwich. XL Sully has had a spin from the lead and falling down through the pack as these three battle on. I wonder if there was maybe contact between him and Rotation, or if it was just a throttle input issue. Time will tell on that. And just while I'm sort of speaking on the order here as well, we have got points. It's a little bit different tonight, Curly. It's not the usual top 10, top 15, top 12, top 8.
Top 18, isn't it?
Top 20. Everybody that finishes scores. As long as you make your car to the finish line, you score a point. And even better, if you make it to the finish and you get fastest lap, even if you're P20, that's a bonus point. So really, every position, every lap can matter. Jeroen getting ahead of Snoken. These two had a few battles in Tier 1 over the course of the season, both in CRL, of course. Snoken having a little look around the outside, trying to do the Verstappen, Hamilton moving him, and doesn't quite make it work, but both cars making it through into Maggots and Beckett's. A famous section for several instances of CRL history, it must be said.
We've got a big DRS train here, by the way, from 6th all the way down to P11, no, P12. So it's a massive 6-car DRS train.
All close together, of course, 1 second of each other. Then you get the DRS. Snoken, who I was previously speaking of, has had a spin there at the end of the hangar straight down to P19 for him. Yeah, this DRS train really heating up. JB Bowie sort of, he's losing a little bit of time to the two in front, Jay Hartnell and Sport Crazy, of course, his two teammates who won't be too worried. Maybe this is his plan, hold the rest of them back and let these two escape. If it is, he's doing a grand job at the moment. But Sully was leading this race, looking at the back of that FRL car, pulls to the inside down the DRS straight and makes the move stick. Bowie, though, won't take this lying down, although it looks like he might just about have to, not getting a nice enough exit, it must be said, along the old start-finish straight down towards the next turn. He's going to just have to settle in for P9. Golden, Not Jack and Kenny still battling out for this battle for the top 10 here, Curly. These three have been pretty inseparable so far.
So you got, is it Kenny right up the gearbox of Jack here? No, is it Jack? Got a Jack? Yep, I'm getting confused. Yep. But the thing is, with these liveries, you get so confused.
it's not as easy to disseminate.
Yep, Kenny is past Golden, is it? Oh man, yeah. But anyway, Kenny's up one place.
Kenny, get the move on Not Jack, settling behind his teammate Golden. Marshall, Ian battling out with SUFC. These two battled out in Tier 4 of CRL this season. Well, they're doing it once again, side by side.
Not sure who that was for. I think it might have been who's in P13? Sport Crazy.
Sport Crazy, yeah, he was running up there in P6, P7 with Jay Hartnell having a spin again out of that final section. The track really catching a few of the drivers out here tonight. It can be a tricky section, of course, on the throttle as we're on board with Golden. 1/10 separating him from JB Bowie. Sully also making the move on Jay Hartnell as JB Bowie runs very, very wide there off the track. Cuts back a little bit. Kenny taking a little bit of avoiding action, but manages to hold it as Golden losing the front end a little bit, almost oversteering the car. Nearly complete the round, just about catches it, and look at this going into the Hamilton Verstappen corner, as I like to call it. So tight, but so clean. Brilliant bit of racing. Here comes Not Jack around about the outside and into Maggots and Beckett's. He goes ahead of JB Bowie. JB falling like a stone, but it's not a dreadful thing to be falling like a stone when you've got these drivers chasing on behind you. Not Jack having a little look at Golden down the hangar straight, but not quite able to make the opportunity, though it might present itself here. We've seen a few moves side by side into this corner. Sully picks up a 5-second penalty, speeding into the pit. 6 laps on those mediums. He's pulled the trigger on that, Curly.
So yeah, I'll be second penalty along with Slim Jim.
Yeah,
So
let's just.
if Rapid can hold up Slim Jim, well, mind you, he's got he's got 1.5 seconds gap behind him, but still, you know what I mean? Give Tom a good battle trying to have a go at rotation here.
Yeah, there will be a little bit coming in to that later on, of course. 8 laps out of 26, all to play for. There's penalties creeping in, Curly. It can be one of those
Yeah,
tracks where you've got to find the line of just pushing, 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 and keeping it within
yeah.
track limits. The top six, though, like you say, spreading out a little bit, and maybe a chance to build the gap for those penalties. Kenny is looking to make a move on Jay Hartle then for P6. CRL or FRL, but not that FRL rotation leading this race from the two WTFL drivers, Tom GoPro and GoProf.
Yeah.
GoPro.
Go Prof. Ian calls
GoPro.
him Tom Go Pro, but it's actually to Go Prof.
I've always called him that. I don't know why. He's in P2 anyway, ahead of Rapid. Slim Jim in P4, ahead of Finn Nex, and the highest up ERO driver currently watching, Kenny in P7 as Jay Hartnell pulls into the pits.
And Golden. Oh! And Craigo's gone for a spin there. He hasn't gone, but he's gone for a little spin. He's now down to P14. Obviously, Craigo, a Tier 3 driver now in CRL. Had a good battle with him last season. Was it last season I won my first race in CRL at Spain, the wet weather race? I think Rotation was commentating on that one as well.
It might well
not
have
season
been.
just gone, but season before.
He might well have been. Yeah, Kriego, a long-time driver for us here. He's bounced between Tier 4, Tier 3. I think he's had an appearance in Tier 2. A very, very solid driver, it must be said. Bit of an all-rounder.
He and him had a good battle in Spain in season before just gone. So,
yeah, back in Season 7. Season 8, Cloudy's trade in Tier 3, and he's here tonight. Not having the best of races, but he's on those fresh hards. We'll see what he can do. And we can see how those early medium runners can maybe try and pull in. Now, they've went for, obviously, quick at the start on the tyres. They're going to degrade off a little bit and then into the pits. Fresh hards to try and go to the end. Of course, a safety car really scuppers that plans, but we won't say those words until we need to. Cross Liam then on the rear of Golden. Interesting to see how these two play it out. Of course, Liam behind his teammate on the softer compound tyre. Those mediums are going to start to wear. They've still got plenty of life in them, it must be said. Generally, my understanding around this track is a Slim Jim picks up a 5-second penalty going into the pits from his mediums, is you could take them halfway. A lot of these drivers, they'll know a lot more than me. The likes of your LOI drivers, your ERO, your CRL, a lot of drivers from those to the
Golden's
tonight is Golden
safety car.
it.
Have you said it to her? Have you said it? Have you got?
I have.
I've heard you. Times I've heard you over the season doing the commentator's curse.
Those that tuned in CRL Tier 4 know that I am probably second to none in the way of commentator's curse, and it's brought on tonight. First safety car of the event then. Could be the last. Knowing my luck, I'm commentating both races. I just need to say the magic words and it will appear.
Don't worry, guys, it's not the first time he's done it over the whole season in CRL's Tier 4. The amount of times I've had the commentary on, and he's mentioned a name and the driver's gone. It's not the first time.
It always seems to happen. It'll be an interesting call in now, Curly. Of course, we had a few drivers down near the back. They pit early.
Would go on mediums, I think, possibly.
Yeah, I mean the mediums you could definitely stretch them out. They will be pretty dead at the end. They'll be pretty worn and tired, but that gives you an opportunity. Maybe fire on some softs if there is another safety car, virtual safety car, or maybe just in a general strategy. A few drivers that started in the hards, pit on the mediums, they can go back in the hards. And let's see what does Mr. Rotation do. He comes into the pits.
Now
Tom
see what
follows suit.
Tom and Rapid do. There you go. They're both coming in.
It will be at least lap 13 before we get racing at the earliest. That's just assuming that the grid gets bunched up. You can see Colin B on the radar just coming through the DRS detection in the first sector, bottom right of your screen, folks. So it might be a little time to bunch up.
Sorry to interrupt, Scott.
No, you're quite right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's get a little look in the pits here. You're in 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. I think I can say head admin and team sort of, I've not really had much involvement in the team side of things, but you are bottling hard, my friend. I saw him spinning quali. He's had a few spins in the race, now speeding in the pits.
Be interesting to see
And
the double stacks here.
and speaking about you're in intermediates, there's a bold strategy from the CRL strategy team.
What?
Um,
Are we expecting rain? Is there rain coming?
and
Tell you
you're in
what, is this like 1,000 IQ or something?
this is I'm gonna just speak from facts. I know you're in pretty well. This is just 0 IQ
Oh,
from
right, okay.
Urine.
Okay.
I'm assuming he's gonna put back in and try and put his hards back on.
Uh,
I'm assuming
okay.
that's what his plan
That's
is.
if he doesn't crash out in the meantime.
Well, a little unknown fact about Urine is he likes to turn left at right-handers, so keep an eye at that. He is.
Left and
I've
right,
heard
right
that
and
he's doing
left.
it to try and save tyre wear. It is. To be fair, a slightly more common strategy, particularly where FE are a very, very respectable esports team. It must be said. These are the kind of tricks he's learned from that. He is, of course, going to serve a 5-second time penalty, so expect we'll see the hards maybe going back on, or maybe the mediums to get another set and just make it last a little bit longer.
Uh-huh.
So we'll
But
wait
this
and
is,
see.
Colin needed this safety car, because he is obviously well behind, so this is good for him as well.
Yeah, big one for Colin, Sully, Craig, of course, they've had the little incident. Even Snoken as well, I believe he got caught up with something. Like Colin, of course, he got a 10-second penalty, it seemed, for track cutting limits of some sort. It'll give him a chance to at least get rid of 5 from his speeding into the pitch. You ruin with he's done pretty well, it must be said, with the with the intermediates. He's going to pull into the pits, and I believe a few more as well. Is that Slim Jim? I'm not too sure.
So Ian's back in now. Oh, he's getting off those hards. He's going to go into the mediums now. No, he's going in, but he's going up the grid. No, he's going back down.
Ian opting to stay out. That's what it was. Ian stayed out the last lap, Marshall. Ian. And now, of course, making his pit stop. He'd maybe been slightly higher up if he'd pit last lap. Who actually knows? You ruin onto the mediums then. The big brain play from him, doing 1 lap and then, or save a lap of tyre wear and then come out in the mediums. So
obviously, rotation didn't need this. But what's going to be interesting here now, obviously with Tom in second and I call it Rapid. Obviously, you've seen how quick Rapid is. Now, is he going to try and let Tom go off? And obviously, he's got to try and defend from the whole grid behind him to try and let Tom go.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting call. Whether he try and builds that little gap, gives Tom a little bit of safety from the quick guys that are coming up behind. There's definitely potential
with that 3-second penalty.
Does he just be the cork in the bottle, hold back the floods a little bit, and tries to buy the 3 seconds? It'll be an interesting call, because of course we're not even at the halfway point of this race. In fact, we're probably going to get underway. I'm hoping maybe this lap, it might actually be lap 14 before we get racing. Then another lap on the safety car, we'll wait and see. You've also got the LOI guys. LOI guys, P5, P7, might be able to try and work something together. FRL need to try and pull themselves back into this a little bit. They have got Finn next, of course. He's got the blue and red card. He's just got it blue on red and just a slightly different makeup. So the blue card of Finn next is FRL. He's got JB Bowie in support a little bit behind. Rotation, must be said, looking very lonely. The lone CRL driver, Pancake or SUFC in the top 10. So team play is really going to come into this. I expect, to be fair, a lot of them are going to just go for it. Really just go for it and try and build it up as much, because we're only halfway through here. Rotation spun, warming up the tyres as JB Bowie comes into the pits, and rotation down to P6. That puts Tom and Rapid in first and second. It looks as if Kenny got an illegal overtake there on rotation, had to give the position up. But now it's going to be Tom from Rapid, from Finn, from Schlim, from rotation, from Kenny, from Jack, from Liam, from Pancake, from Sport Crazy. You messed up my flow there, mate, with all them letters and numbers. From Sport Crazy, from Apex, from Jay Hartnell, Marshall, Snoken, Jeroen, Kriegel, Colin, Sully, and Bowie. Unless, of course, we get another spin, but rotation. A little bit of a bottle job trying to warm up the tyres there. Drops down
Yeah, but
from
he's
first.
quick enough to get back into this.
There's getting nothing but sympathy in the chat, it must be said. Nothing but sympathy. We should hopefully then be back racing at the end of this lap. Big shout out though to all 31 in the chat at the moment, all 31 viewing. Brilliant to see such a nice turnout, live especially. Of course, there will be a few watches back hopefully later on, but great to have so many live in the chat. Absolutely superb. I'm just going to have a little look at Just Giving.
I've got a lonely 4 in mind, but yeah, you know, it's all good.
Every
viewer counts, guys. Every viewer counts.
And speaking of every little helps, I hope that isn't trademarked. Please don't sue us. We are here for a very, very good reason tonight, of course, in aid of the Mind charity, mental health charity doing wonderful work all across the UK. And I'm pleased to say that we are currently sitting at, remember, our target safety car in this lap, but let's ignore the racing for now. Let's get to the important thing. Target tonight, Curly, £250. We're currently sitting at 189 already. We're halfway through the first race. A big,
it's only like half hour gone, 33 minutes gone in the first race. Wow, that's actually, yeah.
That is incredible. A big thank you to everybody, no matter how little or how much you gave us.
GG's, guys.
A penny, a pound, £10, £100. It all goes to wonderful charity. I read a little bit on their page earlier on saying 82% of the pound goes directly to helping people. The rest is, of course, administration. But we're back racing once again. Finn next has dropped off a little bit from the front to rotation, losing out to Kenny and not Jack through the final corner. He's had a horrendous race start, it must be said. Pancake seems to have jumped up one, but the two boys out front, the two WTFL, you must be getting giddy right now here, Curly. They're 1.3 seconds ahead.
Obviously, no, I love the W is great at the moment, but you know, there's another few laps, another 13 laps to go yet, so all good for now.
Anything can happen. Rotation side by side with Not Jack at the end of the first sector. Rotation on the left. Not Jack and the run a little bit wide onto the curbs, but just on the edge. But the two of them still side by side, after the left, after the right, after the other right. And here we go into the famous corner. Can they hold it side by side?
Jack backs off.
He does, he backs out just a little bit, but he's holding that ERS, that battery deployment, 70% left in his tank as they go side by side through Maggots, through Beckett's, and just rotation just gets in front. Two class drivers doing two class bits of racing. Love to see that. Kenny hunting down the final podium spot at the moment, chasing on Finn next for P3. ERO versus FRL, but the two out front, 1.9 as Pancake has had a spin on the pit entry. I can never remember the corner names right now. I'm so out of practice with the commentary, with it being the off season, but bear with me with that. Not Jack not giving up the fight with rotation, however, two attempts between him. He's going to try and hook in, of course. DRS should be enabled the next common lap, and then the battle also will really start to spice up within the trains. But the two at the front, 2.3 clear. 3-second penalty for Rapid, of course, at the moment, but Tom looking in a very healthy position as it stands.
As I say, all Rapid's got to do is just sit there and let Tom go. Obviously, I know Rapid would like to win. I know Rapid's listening right now, but I know he'd like to win. But with that 3-second penalty, just be the, as you said earlier on, the cork in the bottle. Just let him go, and let Tom. Unless Rapid knows he can get past him, get that 3-second gap, then fair enough. But right now, you've got a battle going on between third and fourth as well. These
battle
two
for third and fourth, and also just to jump in a battle for 14th, 15th and 16th. Sully getting around Ian Marshall in to the start of the final sector. He gets round about Craigo through Maggots and Beckett's. Next up for him is Snoken of ERO. The battle for third then, jump up to that. We've just seen Kenny fly by on the straight. Finn next just got the tail end of that rotation on his recovery, just hanging about in the background, but he's got Slim Jim in the picture as well, not going to let him go easy. Slim, of course, the only one apart from Cross Liam on the hard, so that'll be interesting to see. The tyre will start to come to him towards the end of this Grand Prix, Curly. Will
Oh,
be a
he
bit
has
of
got this.
advantage.
No, Apex. Was that Ian? It's Ian. No, Apex. So Apex is. Oh, sorry. So Apex J has gone for another spin. So RL Apex not having a good race this one at the moment. It's the only race that he's racing, I think. He's not racing Silverstone. Austria, sorry. So I think after this, I don't think he'll want to race Austria. I know.
No.
I know. I gave him the choice. I think this one or Austria, and he prefers Silverstone. So, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I would prefer Austria personally myself. Two very good tracks, it must be said, quite balanced. Austria, of course, quite a short track. The skill gap tightens, and the way this has been competitive, even with spread out grids, with an even tighter skill gap at Austria, this could be a really tasty race coming up. Of course, Curly, you're here for me with this one. It'll be our very own Rob joining me for that.
Yep.
We'll see how that race goes, but we're only 16 out of 26 here in Silverstone. Jumping back on board, I'm trying to find the battles. Jeroen on his recovery. Why is it every time I look at a CRL driver, it's always a recovery drive? It's a familiar theme at the moment. He's got that rear wing open as he climbs up with the slipstream on Cross Liam, CRL's Tier 2 champion this season, of course, and he goes down the inside, makes the move. Next up for them, Sport Crazy, who's 1.5 seconds adrift, of course. He's not going to have that DRS to assist, so might find it difficult to defend the two cars coming behind, but he does have a little bit more in the way of battery. We'll see how this battle paces on. Rotation, jump quickly to him. Is he in a striking position on Finn? Not quite close enough, it seems. He may get him down the straight, but I'm going to jump back to this battle between Jeroen and Sport Crazy. It looked very close there between the rear of the FRL and the front of the CRL driver.
Close. He would nearly end up in the back.
Nearly going wing to gearbox there. Here we go, rotation, not rotation, Jeroen, sorry, with the DRS is going to get the move on Sport Crazy, recovering up to PA after, well, 4 mistakes, shall we say. They do make slight contact though, Sport Crazy, making a little bump on the rear of Jeroen. I think that was just a differential of speed on the exit, one of them getting a little bit more grip, a little bit more fire out of the corner, and a little bit of contact. But this DRS train, we're back at it again. There's one, of course, sort of from 3rd down to 5th, the 6 and 7 LY train, and then 8 all the way down to this man here, XL Sully in P13, who of course was leading this race at the early stages. Currently finds him down in 13th on for 8 points, 7 points, something like that.
So I'm just watching the time difference between Rapid and Kenny, and Kenny was just keeping Rapid around about 2.8 seconds, but now he's over that 3-second gap. So yeah, obviously with Rapid needing, obviously as we keep saying, Rapid with that 3-second penalty, it's he's got that 3-second gap now between him and Kenny.
Potential then for the WTFL 1-2. Tom and Rapid doing an amazing job out front. I like to see getting that gap. That is crucial. A few drivers with penalties. Let's have a look at them once again. Rapid in P2 with 3 seconds. Slim Jim in P6 with 8, as Not Jack goes for a spin at the end of the first sector, the midpoint of the first sector, down to P14 LOI. Having a mixed day, a few spins here and there, and having a few trains of sort of. He was up there in P7 down to P14. Anyway, back to the penalties. ERO Snoken P10, Craigo in P13, LY Not Jack were on board with in P15, and Colin still with those 10 seconds of corner cutting penalties. I'm not quite sure what was that, if he was pushed wide, spun wide, or something. We'll maybe see. Of course, there will be stewarding for these races. We're hoping it'll be very limited, of course. It is, after all, a charity event, and that was a terrible camera from the TV director there as Liam Cross goes side by side with Sport Crazy through Maggots and Beckett, Snoken. But in the background, there's wheel to wheel wobble, and Liam pushed a little bit wide. Sport Crazy having to follow suit, and Snoken says thank you very much for the 2 positions. FRL J Hartnell, another familiar name for a few CRL drivers, is lurking in the background, and Sully right on the tail of the 2 FRLs. Just speaking of stewards there, Curly, and what do we get? A little bit of wheel banging. Craigo losing out to Not Jack for P13. It always strikes, always strikes. Rotation though, putting in the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's up into P3, looking to try and hunt down the gap to the front 2. We'll see how that goes. Jeroen loses out to Sports Crazy now through the first corner. It's all over the place. Everything is happening as Jeroen goes back down the inside, into the first sector. That becomes the outside, of course, for the next two corners. He will have DRS, as will Sport Crazy, the two of them touching wheels together. Jeroen just about keeps it within limits. Another little wheel tap there. Nothing too malicious, just wheel banging as Jeroen turns in, almost makes contact. He barely has the space on the outside. This is really elbows out racing, you can tell here between these two. They are given the bare minimum they need to give, and Jeroen gets the pass up to P9.
You've got to give it to all 5 leagues, you know what I mean? It's all clean racing, all respectful racing. I don't know about, well, obviously, I guess I know about CRL, obviously WTFL. I guess imagine across the other 3 leagues as well. All clean racing across, obviously, in their league days. So obviously, this is going to be same as tonight, but it's all clean, respectful racing, and GG's to them all. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, it's quality racing out there.
Absolutely, really, really tight as well. Of course, we've got a mix of abilities, a mix of tiers here, but they've seemed to really, really brought it together on the day. There's not massive gaps of people being 5-10 seconds adrift. It only happens when there's a spin, and speaking of a spin, JB Bowie has had one in the final sector.
Rapid's caught up with Tom here. He's only 4 tenths behind. So he's caught right up here.
Cross Liam, there's an incident between Jay Hartnell
Please,
and
another safety car. Sorry.
It is a full safety car.
No.
I'm not too sure what happened there. There's stricken cars everywhere. Jeroen, I'm not too sure. We've seen him pull across the side. He's left the session in frustration. Jay Hartnell coming together with him. And lap 20, it is going to be a safety car. Meaning, effectively, lap 20, it's going to catch the pack lap 21, Curly. We're going to do at least lap 21, probably lap 22. It could be 23, 24, 25, and 26 to decide things here in Silverstone.
Well, JB Bowers gone on the softs. Obviously, he's at the back. He's got nothing to lose. So he's going to risk it for a biscuit, as you say. But what about the front runners? Who's going to stay out? Who's going to come in?
It is a gamble. There might be some gamble staying out for that track position, of course. Softs are easily going to make it to the end. And then you've got the worry of, you know, what's the pit stop going to do? Tom into the pits.
Tom's in.
Rapid into the pits.
In.
Rotation.
So
big dummy. Kenny stays out. Finn goes in. Schlim goes in. Snoken is slowing it down. He's trying not to double step. He is into the pits. Sport Crazy is doing something similar into the pits. Not Jack fires on through. Craigo follows on through. Sully into the pits. Ian Marshall stays out. Pancake into the pits. Cross Liam stays out. And just Apex then as he comes round to see about all of the front runners. So we're going to have a mix of fresh softs and roller running tyres here.
I think the ones that stayed out may have made a mistake here.
I'm tempted to agree with you there. They might start to struggle.
Made a mistake. Yeah, I think obviously they should have, because everyone else has gone in. I think they should have thought, well, because you've got Tom. He's behind Liam. He's on hards. How old are those hards he's got?
10 lap old hards, and he's got a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. That may be one for the steward in office as well, of course. We'll wait and
Craigo
see.
On mediums, 10 lap on mediums. So yeah, I think those 5 may have made a mistake here.
Well, it's a gamble, of course. Craigo, for instance, I know was down the pack a little bit. For instance, he's got a gamble here. If he can, as long as he can hold back less than 10 cars, or more than 10 cars, say, you know, it could be a net game. I don't think he's definitely on for the win. The same with Kenny and not Jack, Marshall and Liam, of course. But maybe in the position they were further back, it's just strategically gamble. You know, it's better to finish 9th than it is to finish 15th, I suppose. That's maybe the idea they're going for there.
I think, for me, there's only 3 drivers in this. Obviously, as you can see across the race, I think it's Tom, Rapid and Rotation in this. Obviously, obviously, no disrespect to Rapid if you're listening, mate. Possibly just even Tom and Rotation because of Rapid's penalty.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers there with penalties. We'll jump that up
Yep.
again. Not Jack, Kriegel, Cross, Liam, Rapid, Snoken, Slim Jim, and Colin all sitting with 10 points at present. So it's really is going to hurt this race. Their races, sorry. This late safety car, of course, it punches the pack up. You don't have the same time to spread the field. You don't have the same time to get things back together. Just a little info as well, Bowie, I've got to commend him, still racing. He has got bad rear wing damage apparently. Thank you to Fake Scouser for that info. We'll see him
well done,
racing
Bowie.
later on. But Bowie still going strong. And Apex, interesting to see, he's on a fresh set of mediums versus the softs. He's going to have plenty of softs. So I wonder if he's going to be gambling that the softs are going to fall completely off the cliff edge and be horrendous at the end. Time will certainly tell. The pack then nearly reformed, Curly. It's going to be lap 23, I think. At the end of this, we should get racing for 4-lap racing. 23, 24, 25, 26.
Yeah, I get confused. With 23 laps, you get laps of lap 23. To me, that says 3 laps of racing. But yeah, 4 laps, you're right.
A little bit.
That's why I failed maths at school.
There. LOI Colin and Pancake having a little switch. I wonder if that was just trying to go side by side through the corner. Hopefully no penalties for either of them. Yeah, a little commentator's trick I've always learned. Do your total laps minus your current lap, but remember you've still got that lap to do. Add one on. Well, that is the golden rule of commentary.
Do you want to hear something about Ian then? Talking of laps.
Go for it.
Sometimes, right, obviously when he's racing, he thinks the race is finished a lap earlier than thought. He raced in another league last Friday. He thought he won it, but he thought the race had finished on a lap earlier.
Do you know,
he does that quite often. Even when he's commentating, he does it quite often.
It sounds quite silly, but I've heard it before. I've heard it it's not the first driver I've heard doing that. They get 26 out of 26. We're done. Nope, you've got the finish lap 26. It's slightly more common than you think. Safety car in this lap though, Curly. We've got a 4-lap sprint to the finish. Crucially though, we're going to have DRS right at the end. It is Kenny to lead the pack, and he seems to have gone pretty early, trying to get a little bit of a jump of LOI, not Jack behind Kriegel, the lead CRL car on the older medium tyres, following suit ahead of Marshall, ahead of Cross Liam, and then it's all into the fresh soft Tom, Rapid, Rotation, Finn, Snoken, the 5 front runners on that strategy. Interesting to see them. Tom already having a look at Cross Liam into the first few turns. It gets the double overtake on Marshall. Marshall playing very, very teamwork positional there. Rotation sneaks on through. Ian has a spin there as well, maybe getting caught up trying to go too slow to let people by. There's been 2 more retirements of Sport Crazy and Sully. We're down to 15 runners here. I thought a safety car to the end, this would, slow things down, maybe we'll see a little bit nice camera. And it's been chaos already. Rotation then on the rear of Rapid's gearbox. We'll keep an eye on this battle because this could potentially be towards the front end of the final grid. Snoken then maybe in with a chance as well, though he does have a penalty. It'll be Finn next, actually looking for a chance to get on that podium. But Rotation hunting down the 2 WTF FL cars, and they have got a crucial challenge for your drivers. Curly's Rotation gets a snap of understeer or oversteer almost, gets the correction and has to take evasive manoeuvres, losing out a few tenths of time there. But big dilemma for your drivers here. They've got to get past these 12-lap old medium runners, and they've got to do it fast. However, they've got to do it clean. Damage could be the end.
Gets to dive on Kriegel.
Leaving the door open as well for Rapid around the final 2 corners. Are going to go side by side. Tom putting in the fastest lap, and Kriegel, a little bit of wheel bagging coming together there between Kriegel and Rapid, but both cars still running in this race at the moment. Rotation gets left through, it looks. Well, Kriegel battling out with Rotation. And the 2 coming together on the first sector. There will be drama in the CRL room tonight. The 2 of them, the Kriegel saying, "I'm here for myself," and Rotation will be fuming in his cockpit, I can tell you that. He gets back past Finn next. Finn Nell, who's also losing out to ERO. Snoken going around about the outside, gets a little bit loose on the exit, however, and here comes Slim Jim, gets past Snoken, who's already been re-overtaken by Finn. The 2 CRL cars going side by side. and rotation is now ahead. Slim having a look at Finn now as they come into Maggots and Beckett's, but it's Snoken, sorry. He's sneaked in between the two of them. Rotation picking up a free second time penalty. Pancake picking up a free second time penalty. This could really be... Kenny could be looking in a brilliant position here because he doesn't have any penalties. Snoken going side by side then with Finn. One of only two FRL drivers still in the run, and the other being Bowie with the rear wing damage. And Snoken has a look, can't quite make it work. Pancake getting past Cross Liam further behind, but we'll jump back up to this battle. The front yellow flags in sector 2 for Bowie. He's really struggling with that rear wing damage, but commendance to him for continuing on. Finn side by side then with Snoken. Snoken can't quite get that nose in front, has to sort of back out. Finn runs a little bit wide here, more penalties flying in. Slim Jim's got one to add to his tally, and Snoken does lose out to or Snoken does, sorry, make the move on Finn next. Slim Jim and Colin lurking in the background. Slim Jim not just lurking, in fact he's now going side by side. 2 laps to go, including this one, so a lap and a half really, Curly. It's all heating up. Craigle cuts across a little bit, almost makes contact with Slim Jim.
So it's like, Tom, I'll give you a brief, mate, give you a breather. So Tom, so I'll say Jack is holding up the 2 WTFL drivers here really well, and is letting Kenny get away. Kenny's 1.6 seconds clear. Obviously, Jack does have a 3-second time penalty, so even though he's holding these two up, he's doing a good job here to let his teammate get clear. And I can see that Tom's ERS is actually flashing. His red light on that rear is flashing like a Christmas tree, but Rapids isn't. So, and even though Rapids got that 3-second time penalty, but yeah, Jack's doing a great job here holding these two up.
Crucial as well, Rapid has got the 3-second time penalty, but so do a lot behind him. Just to clarify as well, not Jack. Yes, he's in a white car, but it's LOI, not Jack, and ERL, Kenny. These are two.
Oh, sorry, okay, I just see the white. I see the white things. I didn't look. Yeah, okay. So,
easily done.
Oh, he's doing a great job for not his teammate then.
He's doing a brilliant job for his not teammate by holding
not teammate.
Tom Go Prof
It's the
at
last
the
lap
moment.
now, so they want to. If these two WTFO drivers want to get past, not Jack, they need to do it now. But I think Kenny, I thought they made a mistake staying out, but obviously he's done a great job here.
Yeah, Kenny done a brilliant job. Not Jack, of course, is currently on for a P3 at the moment. All of those drivers, most of them drivers anyway, with the little black and white flag, have got some sort of penalty. Kenny, no penalties, 1.5 seconds out front, is on course for the race when it would be then Tom in second.
Sorry, can Finn jump up and get a podium here?
It is potentially on. I don't know if that is... it is viable. It'll be very, very tight. It will need to maybe make a move or two to make it happen, but it could potentially happen. It'll just depend how congregated that pack is together. I think the gap's just a little over the limit. He might miss out by a couple. Tom trying to have a little look at not Jack. He doesn't really need to. In fact, it would be better off for the WTFL team to get Rapid in front. Maybe that's what they're trying here. As Rapid does go for a move. He does try and he does pip not Jack. So it is going to be Rapid taking that podium. Brilliant bit of teamwork there by the WTFL guys. Kenny takes the win ahead of Tom GoProf. Rapid in P3, not Jack from LOI in P4. Rotation in P5. Finn in P6. Snoken P7. Slim P8. Pancake P9, Apex P10, Crossley 10, Crossley 11, Craigo 12, Colin 13, Marshall 14, JB Bowie 15, Support Crazy, Sully, J Hartnell, Urun, and Golden all DNF, and that is race 1, Curly.
That was an absolute cracking race. Obviously, that last safety car screwed us over. so do you know what I mean? We didn't need that one, but I'll happily take 1-2 after the first race, 2-3 after the first race. I know in the second race that I want to say FRL he's in. Is it Rose? Is it Rose's name?
Rose. I'm just having a look at my things here. Yeah, Rose, FRL.
Yeah,
he'll be one of their drivers.
He is very, very quick because he's in another league, and Rapid races him as well. You know what I mean? So I know he's a very quick lad. So yeah, I think he'll be To be honest, I'm not sure what other lads are in there, but I think he'll be one of the favourites to win the Austria race.
Time will tell for that one. We'll wait and see. The Austria race, of course, is going to be tight together, but it is going to be ERO Kenny taking the top spot on this podium. One of a number. Sorry, it is the same Kenny. One and only Finnish driver taking the top spot in those blue and white overalls for the country's flag. I'll not disapprove of them colours, my friend. Tom Goproff is in P2. The Dutch driver, WTFL, taking it. Rapid in P3 with a brilliant move on Not Jack into the final corner. Big shout out to Kenny as well, started last up the first. What a performance from him. Rapid gets the fastest lap as well.
Day, I think.
A driver, well, not quite the day, just the race maybe. Another one, of course, to come. Rotation P5, the first of the CRL drivers. Finn next, the first of the FRL in P6. Snokin, Slim Jim, Pancake, Apex, Cross Liam, Craigo, Colin B, Marshall and Bowie, your finishers, of course. I'm sitting here with the tablet at the ready, gonna get you some provisional points, hopefully, get an idea of where we're at, of course. If my maths is correct, it's of course the big thing. We'll wait and see, but you've got to be happy with that so far, Carly. You're going to dissipate from the comms box, obviously, so halfway point, sort of, not a commentator now, you're the team principal. How are you feeling?
So I've got a message here. This was like a while ago from Nathan. Asked you to check your Discord. But yeah. So yeah, mate, I'm definitely happy with that. Obviously, we're going to be up there to start. I think we're up there abouts. Anyway, it's like mid. I don't know, but I'm happy to take 2-3. As I said earlier, that last safety car screwed us over. But yeah, definitely to take 2-3. Well done. GG's to Kenny for winning. Mate, you made a great decision to stay out. I thought you'd make the wrong one, but you made me eat my words. So, yeah, GG's. But GG's to everyone in that race. You had an absolute cracking race. Very enjoyable to watch. But guys, Scott, thank you very much for having me, mate. Very much appreciated. And we'll look forward to Season 9 in CRL.
Brilliant. Thank you for joining in, Curly. Like we say, originally DC was planned to be here, fellow head admin, but he's sadly had to pull out due to illness, so it was absolutely thrilling to see that you could step in, and I'm glad I had somebody else there, because that was, like you say, a mental race. I'm currently going to do the maths for you. I think, to be fair, based on that performance, WTFL might have a slight lead going into this race. It is, of course, Austria. I'm going to be joined by Rob. Rob, if you're listening, feel free to join at any time, mate. And like you say, thank you from a personal note from the CRL team to the WTFL team for getting involved in this event, for getting your drivers involved, and we really do appreciate it. Here he is. Well, Rob has joined.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys. Good luck to everyone else.
Thank you, Curly. Brilliant to have you, my friend. Stepping in to the co-commentator's seat then, folks. It's the one and only Spider Rob. You might know him from CRL Tier 2. He's been a regular fixture on the comms box alongside Jonathan. He's been in the comms box a few times with me, in fact, as well. And it's brilliant to have you here for the second race. Did you watch the first race, Rob? I'm hoping you said yes.
I did see the first race, and that late safety car right at the very end. It was a great race to watch. Just wish we could have got a few more points for Cone, but hey ho, it is what it is. But it's still a great race to watch, nonetheless.
Absolutely, it was stuff there. It was really, really brilliant to see. I'm currently still doing the maths on that. Hopefully by the time we get to maybe the first kind of part of Austria, I'll have it done. The symbols are going here on the head, Rob. They really, really are going. But no, pleasure to have you, mate. And you know, I can't think of anybody better I'd be doing an event like this. This is the sort of, to me, the epitome of what Cone is. It's two lads that love a bit of a laugh, a bit of carry on, playing some F1s and whatever, everything else. But also, while we're doing that here tonight, we're doing it for a nice bit of charity. I've just noticed a little change to the CRL driver lineup as well. AJ Wuhan, the head admin, stepping in place for Jeroen, who he crashed out, fair enough, in the first race. He's maybe not feeling too up for it, too confident after that drive. So Jeroen, big shout out for racing to you, my friend. But Jacob taking the spot. Fun little fact for Jacob, head admin, and is, I think, the only Cyclops I know that races. It's a little inside joke. Hopefully he finds that funny.
Oh, we'll find out what's it called behind the scenes in a few hours, that's for sure.
Oh, the
When he
fisticuffs.
rewatches this back.
Fisticuffs will be out. Let's just have a little check in. See, I've never done anything like this before, Rob. Normally, when I would do something, I would love to have what will be a. Sadly, don't have that to hand, so I'm sort of just doing it all off the cuff. Let's have a little check in with the thing. See if I can get some donations. Big shout out then to Kevin, Mr. Dowell. Lots of love from France. Care Bears. It's a lovely thing you're doing, Mr. Panda. I actually helped this company out before with 5 Days Gamer, so I'm happy to donate. Thank you very much for that. Colin Bryan with £20. Pio, our very own Digweed, donating in with £10. Murphy, of course, he's racing here. The CRL Tier 4 Papa himself putting the £10. Big shout out to Phil though. 40 smackaroonies from Phil. What a lad, our McConey. Absolute big love going out to you tonight, mate. Craigo with the £20. I am Marshall with a £5, and then the CRL head admin team with £60 to get the ball rolling today. Brilliant. Keep those donations coming. Even a pound, even a penny. It all goes to a great place, eh, Rob?
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, with a guy who does suffer with mental issues, who has suffered with mental issues before in the past, it is a good thing that we are doing it for. And anyone that is listening that is suffering with them, just know you are not alone. Do reach out if you do need anyone to talk to.
Absolutely. These facilities and these support services, they are, of course, there for the officially funded way, but that's maybe not for everybody. I know myself, the guys in CRL, there's plenty here, plenty ready that for a bit of a chat and a bit of laugh. We've had a few fun nights, it must be said, and it can be a nice little break, a nice little, just even a relief from the everyday stress. So feel free to jump in, get involved, and that goes out not just to the CRL guys, all the guys from ERO, from WTFL, from LOI and FRL. At the end of the day, we are different leagues, we are the same community, but we're about to get racing in Austria here, Rob.
I love a bit of Austria. It's one of my favourite circuits. It's in my top 5, to be fair. So the fact that I get the comms on Austria for what will be the final race we're doing for CRL for F122. It's on stream anyway.
Of course, with the game out, I believe, is it next week?
Tuesday for the champions, and then Friday for everybody that's gone, you know what, I don't want to have the champions.
I don't even have my rig set up in my new, accommodation area. I don't have a way to play the game. I'll need to get that set up.
Get it done. I've done the jump. I've gone to Wheel now, so
you've joined the big boys. You've joined the real racers. I think that might upset a few. But no, definitely exciting to see what the future of CRL and indeed the wider F1 community, WTFL are doing things. They're getting ready for their next season. ERO, I know firsthand as well, they're getting ready for things. FRL, there's not a day FRL doesn't race, so I'm certain they'll be getting going. In LOI, I know a few of the drivers. I'm not too familiar with the league and the team setup, but I can guarantee, from what I've seen, it's a very, very fun Irish league. Irish orientated league, of course, and I'm certain they'll be doing anything. So make sure to give them a little check out if you are looking for a fun place to race. I couldn't recommend 4 other leagues better, except for, of course, CRL. Head admin bias and all that.
I say the more we get in, the more we can keep pushing for that fabled Tier 5 that I keep mentioning in the Tier 2 streams. For anyone that keeps, who has listened to me, and obviously Jonathan doing the Tier 2 comms, obviously you know that I try creeping in that Tier 5 at least once a race.
You try and convince us. You're pushing us.
I'm pushing
us. So we are on board then for the Austrian Grand Prix. I nearly said the Dutch Grand Prix there for some reason. I'm going to jump on board. Let's give a little love to ERO Cross Liam. He brought together the ERO team. Of course, he was sort of running the cooperation, you could say, between the two leagues on behalf of ERO to CRL. Your other big drivers, of course, Curly, they are doing it for the WTFL side of things. FRL, I believe, now I may be wrong because I know FRL there's quite a few good guys in there that are really good at organising this stuff. But I believe Jay Hartnell was sort of leading that. Not Jack, of course, leading it for LOI. So a big shout out to, of course, them four. Not Jack, Jay Hartnell, Cross Liam, and Curly for leading that. But it's a quick lap here in Austria. Qualifying is over. Rosie is pole, and then the rest of them, well, they just came through like that, didn't they?
Yeah, that's the thing with one-shot quality. You don't truly know where you're going to be until you cross the line.
It's yeah. I must admit, I'm not the best commentator for one shot quality. You know, I've got that tendency to, I think the word is ramble on. I think that's a valid sort of explanation. But there is a qualifying result saying it is F Rosie from FRL on pole. Mr. Ice Cold Andy, what a name that is, it must be said, my friend. I believe he is racing on behalf of, yes, it is LOI. Sully, once again, back in P3 for LOI as well. Boompy, Tom Go Prof, Kenny, Crystal, Cross Liam, Rapid, Palmer, Murphy, Ennis, King Pie, Panda, and that was all I could get in. This really is a mad job. I really hope if we do this again, maybe a bit more prep time for me. I didn't put quite as much work in as I maybe should have, but nonetheless, we're here for a good cause. We're here for a good time.
You have been busy behind the scenes over these last few weeks, mate. It has to be said.
It must be said. It's been a wild one. But do you see the skies? The hills are alive with the sound of potential rain by the looks of things here, Rob.
It is Austria.
It's looking a bit misty.
It's not out of the realms of possibility. I mean, 9 times out of 10 when I race around Austria on my 2-player, on my team or standard career, it rains.
And sometimes when it rains, oh boy, does it pour. We have seen, of course, in CRL history, quite the mix of conditions here in Austria. So we'll wait and see how that goes in the race. Safety car as well. We've seen them in Silverstone. We could definitely see them here in Austria. And such a tight track that I think the term they use is skill gap. Now, of course, some people are slightly better at the game than others, but when you get such a short track and a track like Austria, that gap really does tighten down here. So it could breed really good racing, or it could breed absolute chaos. I've got a little update on the standings, if you want, provisional standings anyway, post
definitely.
WTFL, unsurprisingly, are currently leading the pack, 56 points for them. ERO second on 44, ahead of CRL on 37. LOI on 34, and FRL, sadly 2 retirements see them on 23, but all still to play for, of course. Plenty of points still available as they get the formation lap underway.
There is an update from down in the pits. We have got information. It is indeed apparently going to rain, but not until the very end of the race.
Oh, so this could be a tasty one. Now, my knowledge of the rain and the weather in this game, I do not claim to be an expert. In fact, I claim to be the complete opposite of an expert, is that it sometimes comes a little bit earlier than it says it's going to.
I've noticed that.
So, when they say it's due at the end of the race, it's due maybe about lap 25 to 30 here. Of course, it's only an approximation for the rain falling in, so we'll wait and see how that pans out. I think everybody has, of course, the 2 white cars, 2 white teams. You've seen what happened the last race here. So I suppose a little clarifying on the 2 white teams. Mr. Ice Cold Andy in P2 is LOI. XL Sully is LOI. The 4 ERO ones, pretty clear to see. Kenny, Crystal, Cross Liam and Ennis. And then, of course, you have LOI Johnny and LOI Slim Jim. So for the most part, hopefully no confusion for us, no confusion for everybody at home. Thank you everybody at home that has tuned in. Thank you everybody that has donated. It has been absolutely incredible to see the turnout and to see those donations come in. 24 still with us. And brilliant stuff to see.
Big mixture on the tyres as well. Half the grid seeming to, well, just less than half going for mediums, the rest going for hards. So, going to be playing the long game. Are they going to hold out until potentially rains, or can the mediums get them there? Like you said, rain normally comes early. Oh, we got some people doing some spins in the background. Doing your trick, Scott.
I can't claim that. That was Mr. Evans Joshua. Took that. Just an admirer and an intimidator. Imitator, not intimidator, an imitator. Yeah, we'll wait and see then. The mediums, will they be able to stretch it to the rain? Will the rain come whatsoever? We'll find out because it's lights out and away we go in Austria. Rossi for FRL getting a great start, it must be said. The two
An amazing
LOIs
start.
swapping positions. We're 4 or 5 abreast further down through the field. Boompi seems to have lost a huge amount of positions. And the rest of the pack sort of just jumping and shaking about. They're almost about 4 or 5 wide here coming up the hill towards turn number 3. King Panda has to sort of back out there from a few boys in front. AJ Wuhan battling out with Murphy and Co. And it just battles everywhere. Ennis, I love my speaking of that, Johnny
wings
makes
flying everywhere.
Yeah, LOI Johnny making contact with the rear of Palmer. Crystal losing out a little bit of positions. This is the thing with the one shot, of course. Everybody gets so out of position at times, and everybody's really gunning it through these first few laps, so it's a little bit chaotic. The first lap, 2, 3, 4
Oh,
even.
we got a spin as well. Mr. Head Admin himself, Jacob, he's gone for a spin, and now he's sits at the back with Pierre.
I think there's a curse in that for CRL car. It's the bottle. I don't think it's a car. I think it's a bottle on wheels. Rossi then finishes the first lap where he started in P1. XL Sully and Mr. Ice Cold Andy swapping positions from where they started. Tom up in P4, Crossley in P5, and Kenny up in 6. Rapid 7, Crystal in 8. Panda Palmer in 9th ahead of Ennis and Tints. Johnny into the pits, it must be said. We saw his front wing go flying as Crystal loses out to Rapid. He's in for a wing change and onto the mediums, maybe upsetting the strategy, but the rain could be coming, Rob, and it's a long old race ahead.
Oh, no, definitely a long ways to go. I mean, we're already 2 laps into the second lap out of 36. Slim Jim went for a bit of a spin in sector 1 that I think you may have missed there, Scott. No damage by the looks of it, but still not what you want to see. But still a long way to go.
Absolutely. We're only lap 2 out of 36. Buckle in, folks, because it's going to be a long one. And there's still plenty of drama and action to come. Big Balls is having a little look at the rear of Murphy, a legend in the CRL community. As well, speaking of Murphy, he loses it on the penultimate corner, just catching too much of that curb. The car going for a spin. Big Balls reacting well just to back out until that car goes and up into P12. He's got Sausage Joe. I've got to hand it to you. I think FRL wins for some of the names. Sausage Joe and Big Balls alone are up there for me. Fake Spouser then getting past Boompi as well, who's into the wall next of turn 1. I think
3 of the Cone Boys down in the bottom bit. I mean, I'm on board with the only one of the Cone Boys that's currently sitting in the top 10, which is CRL Palmer. However, he is going through his DRS. ERS? ERS.
ERS,
tomorrow. ERS.
That's just typical Murphy, typical Palmer behaviour. Big shout out to Harry. Been a big involvement in the community this season. Great to see, and brilliant to see him racing here tonight. On the other hand, though, I think we need to have next time we need a selection committee. Get me and Robin. We should have been racing here tonight. The biggest bottles there have been so far, but nah.
Our one biggest bottle job for Tier 4 this season at Cone. And,
that's true.
I don't think I would have... well, I can't say what I was going to say there. No, I'll stay impartial. I don't think I was fully deserving of that award, but my teammates certainly got me, that's for sure.
Fair enough. Crystal was looking very tight to the rear of Rapid 4P7 going up into turn 1, had the back out. There's a little bit of a train forming here behind Kenny. He's got Cross, Liam, Rapid and Crystal. Of course, Liam and Crystal both on the mediums. Interesting though, 3 of the 4 I just named all ERO drivers, so maybe team play will come into it. We'll wait and see. Rapid has almost looked like a little dive, but just taking a very, very tight line into turn 4, and that's maybe inviting a bit of Crystal pressure on from behind going through this middle sector. Mediums versus hard. There is going to be a pace advantage for Crystal here in these early opening laps, definitely, but it's all down to if you can make the move. Stick spin for Alfie, the WTFL driver, through that middle sector there, Rob. Yellow flags galore already, and we're only 4 laps in.
It can be tricky, that middle sector. I mean, I've lost it on that corner, or he's had it before, but luckily, because there's so much space, it is hard to do any damage. So literally just get back on track. Hopefully, commentator's curse. He's gone for another spin, this time in sector 3, just before the pits. Maybe them tyres are a bit dead, maybe it might be time to come in. And he is listening to me, and he's probably going to be going on to the hards.
Try and stretch the hards to the potential coming away. Crystal making 2 overtakes there through the first sector, getting rapid on the start-finish straight, and then his teammate Liam on the run up to turn 3. DRS, of course, now enabled that we're on lap 5 of this race. These laps have really flew in at the opening stage of the Grand Prix. I'm focusing on this battle for the mid-pack. The battle at the front is tight as well, but nothing really changing too much as things stand. Alfie, like you say, into the pits for a shiny new set of white stripe hards, trying to take it out to the rain, and that will be the key to this race here, of course, Rob.
Yeah.
Because when the rain comes in.
Yeah, it's one of those where you've got to time it just right. Sometimes the rain can come down, you can just get away with slicks to the end, or depending on when it comes down, does it come down quickly, does it come slowly? You've got to make that right call at the right time. And if a safety car comes out, especially when it starts to rain, that's when things can get interesting.
Oh, when it comes out just before that crossover point, just when it's starting to think about it, that's when you really get a tasty Grand Prix.
Exactly.
Ennis getting a move on Palmer for P9 as things stand. Big Balls making the move on Panda for P11, so a little bit of movement in the mid-pack. Big Balls and Panda, in fact, battling it out, it seems, on the run down to turn 4. Panda back ahead of Big Balls. The 3 FRL drivers are running in 12, 13, 14 at the moment, trying to pull their way through this grid as a unit. And Panda doing his best to block all of them advances. Boompay putting in the fastest lap. Remember, fastest lap point for anybody. As long as you finish the race, you can gain that fastest lap point, even if you are P20. Of course, Rapid is back on the rear now of Crossley in the battle for P7, 6 and even 5. Heating up there, and just as I say that, he gets a little bit of a moment through the penultimate corner, and a little bit loosey-goosey, I believe is the technical term, Rob.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's been an interesting race so far. 7 laps in, I mean, the top 4 in a league of their own at the minute, but the mid-pack battle has been really enjoyable to watch. I've been jumping between different drivers in this mid-pack, and I tell you what, the pace, the action, the skill level, it's all, you can see who's on par with each other. It's been great to watch so far.
Absolutely brilliant to watch. A little bit of contact there, though, between, I believe it was Sausage Joe and Panda. It doesn't seem to be any damage for either of them. Big Balls going around the outside of turn 3 on Panda, and making a little bit of contact. Almost looks like into the rear of one, into the front of another, but looks to have got away relatively unscathed. There could be a tiny little fractional damage, hopefully not for him. But yeah, the top 4 sort of in the world of their own. 3 seconds the gap from P4 to P5. The rest of the pack, it's just, where do you look? Where's the battle? There's cars, 2 temps on another, 2 temps on another. I think where we will get a battle here is going to be Rapid and Cross Liam down towards turn 1, and if not up towards turn 3. Liam dropping out of the DRS of his 2 teammates, Kenny and Crystal, up ahead. And it is going to be a little look into turn 1, but not quite there.
Turn 1.
It's Tom Go. Prof, he was riding in P4. He's had a spin on the exit of turn 1. It seems down to P10, and it looks to be no damage on the front of the wings. That'll be crucial. Wing damage with a full lap to go can be torrential around here. His teammate has got ahead of Cross Liam, however, a little consolation, I suppose, and the 2 ERO drivers, Kenny and Crystal, swapping places. Liam, though, coming back at him down into turn 4, goes down the inside of the WTFL driver. Rapid taking a wider line there just to give him plenty of room, and has to settle back in behind for 6 and then 7, it seems.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott, this little battle between Rapid and Ennis is allowing, Liam and Rapid is allowing Ennis and Palmer to come into the battle. Harry's trying to, what's called, keep up with Ennis, but they are slowly now catching on the 2 in front. Great battling so far going on between these 2.
A brilliant bit of racecraft between them, and I know up and down at the field. I'm going to just jump quickly up to the battle at the front now. Sully is making his charge, it seems. Rossi does have a little bit more on the tank in ERS, and you'd think even with the DRS that he'd be able to close in a bit, but seems not been able to. Quarter of a second separating our front 2 is Panda and Sausage Joe battle it out once again. Sausage Joe looks to have lost it on turn 1, however, and Rossi must be running extremely low downforce setup here, because these 2 LOI boys cannot seem to catch him whatsoever.
No.
Rosie really doing well on the straight and not even abusing the ERS at present. He's just riding his own race. Mr. Ice Cold Andy, of course, they're sitting in the background, able to soak up, save a little bit of ERS and maybe try and ride off the rear of his teammate. An interesting battle keeping on for P1 at the moment. Crystal 5.3 seconds adrift from that battle. Of course, there was a car in between them. And these three drivers, in fact, these 3-year-old drivers have had the battle through. And speaking of the battle, and Rapid has a look down into the little bit corner, can't quite make it work and cross lane. They go almost making contact into the final corner, and a compromised exit for Rapid may damage any chance of an overtake, even with the DRS on the run to turn 1. It's not going to happen, but it's all about getting a great exit now up the hill. Turn 1 there, of course. There is technically, yes, that bend is a turn, and he's going to make it around the outside of turn 2, you could call it. The run up to the hill, that is turn 3, and that is Rapid once again back through. Great squabble / battle.
But Liam should have now the DRS, which he has now got on Rapid, so are we going to see the positions given back? That's the question. We got a yellow flag down sector 3, I believe.
It's TGT Alfie, yep, seems to have lost it on the curbs once again. I think the car is still moving at least, so he's not completely wrote it off into the wall, but struggling at the back is Alfie at the present. Of course, still worth just racing on. He can pick up a bonus point just by finishing last. Sausage Joe has had a spin of some sort. Yes, he has an exit of turn 4, entry to turn 5, and he is going to drop down a few positions as things stand. And TGT Alfie does retire in the pits. I'm surprised at that. He could have kept going and still got a single point, but it is the first retirement in this Austrian Grand Prix.
That's the thing with Austria, though, because it's such a short track, and once you've had a couple of spins, that one too many, I mean, that's his second time in the pits, and once you start seeing them blue flags, it's very, very hard to unlap yourself in this track, let's face it, Scott.
Absolutely. It's a tricky one. And safety cars come out and just absolutely ruin any chance of that. We see all the two LOI drivers in second and third swapping positions. Boompy looks to have had a similar slip up to Alfie by the looks of things. Yellow flags in that final sector.
It's catching a lot of people out tonight. That exact corner is catching an awful lot of these drivers out. I think about 4 or 5 different drivers now spun in that section.
It was that corner there, folks, we saw Mr. Ice Cold Andy just drive over. And yeah, a lot of them lose it on that curb. It can be a dangerous curb, not just for spins, but for warnings. And speaking of spins, it's not quite a spin, it's a bit of a fishtail catch almost by Mr. Ice Cold Andy into the final turn. He was lit through by Sully to try and chase down and get the move on Rosie. He couldn't quite make it, pushing as hard as he could, it seemed, and lost it a bit through the final corner, back down into P3, and now they're just outside of the DRS range. Sully pulling back across to let Ice Cold Andy back on through into P2, but he's got to try and chase down and close. Rossi looking absolutely phenomenal pace-wise in here for FRL. Back down the grid, Rapid and Liam are still battling out. Tom and Palmer are battling it out as well. These two had a battle in WTFL's league for the championship, I believe. So familiar names side by side in track, and they're once again side by side going into turn number 4. Palmer on the inside trying to make the move stick. He does hold it around nicely through the inside of 5. Now it's 6, the outside double left-hander for Palmer. Tom on the inside.
This is great battling between these two in sector 2.
Absolutely incredible, just giving each other plenty of room, enough respect, and keeping it clean. They're still side by side for what is essentially half a lap before Palmer has to slot back inside. Of course, he's now going to get a run, maybe with the DRS. On the run down to turn 1 is our Harry Palmer, indeed our very own. He is, what's the chant? He's one of our own. He's one of our own. And I've just cussed him. Oh, that was the pressure got to him. I'm sorry, Harry.
Anyway, moving on.
Swiftly moving on from that. Back then to cross Liam. The two, must be said, the two at the front. Andy losing a little bit of time to Rosie. He's really starting to pull out the gap. Kenny in behind Crystal. He's just been cruising along, letting Crystal pull things up the grid. And the real battle then between two teams and between cars is between Cross Liam and Rapid. And it must be said, the gaps here are significantly bigger than what they were in Silverstone. And what is such a more tighter skill gap track, as you could call it.
Yeah, but on this race we've not had a safety car yet, so Silverstone we'd already had the first one by now. But we are only one. We're entering now the second third of this race. Still plenty of action to come, and still plenty of rain to come by the sounds of it. But is it me, Scott, or does it look like it's got clearer than darker?
It definitely had. It was sort of clouded, overcast conditions at the start of this race. We're on board with Cross Liam and looking at the back of that car. Yeah, there's a few fluffy white clouds, but there's nothing, nothing filling me with the dread of a thunderstorm or a big heavy rain shower coming. But things can change in the click of a finger, or the drop of a hat,
definitely.
or whatever terminology you want to use. Liam is trying to make things change for the positional board, trying to have a little look at Rapid down the inside. The position or the overtake doesn't quite materialise. Fake Scouser and Palmer. Fake Scouser, of course, a previous racer here, Liverpool fan. Some of you might know him as here in CRL. He's got a lot of history with a lot of our drivers. I believe Murphy is one of them, going on with the newer member of Cone, Palmer, at the moment, 4P13. Great battle from these two. It really has been great racing up and down the field. Palmer been involved in a couple of good battles, showing a little bit of racecraft from him, and he holds the routes outside of Fake Scouser, or Bruce as he's otherwise known, and gets the move done up into P13. Liam still chasing down the rear of Rapid, and Rapid maybe just starting to get away with him, of course. 14 lap old mediums versus 14 lap old hards. The hards are maybe going to start coming into their own, and might start to pull out. I'm just looking at I'm terrible with names. I think it's Wodge. I know it's ERO. The point system tonight is, of course, 20 points for a win, 1 point for 20th fastest lap. It goes to whoever has the fastest lap, regardless of your point, your finishing position. You don't need to be within that top 10. So theoretically, you could be P19 in this race, miles down in the back, and you just go for it. You could get 3 points.
Well, to go on the line of points, does Alfie still get a point with the fact that he has retired, or would that now be?
It's no points for DNF.
Nah.
It is nil points, I believe. Yep, DNF 0 points. So nothing.
Well, we've got first of our medium runners that are coming in that have started on mediums, coming in, I should say, and they are now switching to the hard tyre, which should, if there's no rain, see them to the end of the race.
Yeah, Sully was up there in P3, just behind Mr. Ice Cold Andy. Maybe going for a little bit of an undercut here. Of course, he will get the hards, fresh hards versus 15 lap old hards. They're going to be a bit quicker. The other one, of course, being it was Crystal. I'm sure Crystal was already on the medium, so whether he's going for a medium soft or going for medium, I'm hoping that the rain comes pouring down. He'll be rapid compared to those old hard runners. Keep an eye on him. Murphy also into the pits. Coming down. Sausage Joe pit a few laps ago, and Bimpy, of course, pit close to the start of this Grand Prix.
Nice little battling going on between Crystal and Palmer at the moment with the battle for P12.
We'll jump on board with that. Fake Scouser and Palmer. I think you mean so for P13.
No, of course it is. Not Crystal. Old habits don't die hard, Sky. If anyone that has watched me in Tier 2 know I do this at least twice a race.
Yeah, it's very hard to read in a horizontal line at times. I don't know, Rob. But yeah, these two battling out, gonna jump out. Sully gets the move on Panda, who does pull into the pits, so that's probably how he got the move done. But Sully is going to be in the charge on these fresher hards. That'll be them up to temps, of course. And his battle is with Mr. Ice Cold Andy, who is, of course, his teammate. But the main one is F Rosie 7 of FRL. Big balls, maybe a chance for him to hook in behind, use a bit of DRS. Same with Crystal, although Crystal technically, he's really caught up with Sully already. They were a few seconds adrift before the pit stop, maybe a slightly slow pit stop for Sully, maybe just a slow pit entry, and Crystal has really caught up, or maybe it's just those mediums coming into play. He's going to be rapid through this middle stint, I suppose you could call it, now that we suspect the rain might be coming. Definitely one to keep an eye on. Cross Liam, is he going to come into the pits this lap? That'll be the other maybe key to this puzzle, or is he going to just switch it long? He does stay out. He's going for 17 laps on the mediums. Do you think he's gambling, stretching for the rain?
Well, there's a potential. I mean, if you can nurse them mediums, you can get quite a few laps out of them. I mean, I've pushed mediums to 80% before, but that was in France. That's a different story. But if you look after your tyres, you know what they say, you look after your tyres, they'll look after you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of pace preservation from Liam. Maybe that's why he's not attacking Rapid as much at the moment. I really wish we could see the percentage in the wear on the tyres.
At the moment, Scott, there is a freeway battle for P12 going on. Palmer, Fake Scouser, and Tommy, I believe it is having a good old battle here. He's about to go 3 wide into turn 3. Palmer going for the dive, and it's kept clean between him and Scouser. But here comes Tommy, and it's now a freeway battle down to the next corner.
Yeah, Palmer trying to get the move on Scouser. Tommy going for like a double switchback. He's now going the inside. They are going to be 3 wide almost into turn 4. Tommy in the inside, Palmer in the middle. Here comes Fake Scouser on a mighty switchback and just says, thanks for the 2 position, lads. I will take both of them. Palmer losing out to both there. These 3 really putting on a show for P12, of course, still points paying positions and could be crucial points paying positions come the end of tonight. These 3 really putting on a great battle.
It's definitely worth staying on board with these just for a little bit longer to find out what's going to happen. But it's great battle, and they're all making, because obviously 3 different teams there, all trying to prove why they are representing their teams tonight, obviously for a good cause.
Absolutely, that good cause, of course, Mind, mental health charity, doing amazing work all over the UK in regards to mental health services and raising awareness. There seems to be a couple of movements there. There's been a couple of spins. I think it's Gay Across Liam having a spin out the top of turn 3 by the looks of things. Horrendous result for his race. He was running pretty well on those old mediums, but maybe they're just starting to pull in, and the 2 WTFL drivers out front, out the top end of this grid, Rapid and Tom both picking up 3 second time penalties. We saw how much that affected the last race. It could really affect this once again, but I'm going to jump back. I'm going to have to jump back to this battle for P12. It's still going. It's still going, Rob.
It is. I've not moved from it. While you've gone and looked at other drivers, I've stayed exactly here. These 3 boys are putting on a great fight, and it's got me hooked.
Absolutely, this has been incredible. Woj Schmigwoski. Oh, I'm terrible at English names. Little known, I believe Woj is Polish. He's saying Frugo's Fake Scouser. A very, very brilliant reference. Cross Liam then on to the sauce. Now, Liam, I know you've been working hard on your uni dissertation, but has he came up with a formulation and a strategy to take soft tyre 16 laps? If he has, I want him inquired. It's still, it'll be an amazing feat. He's definitely gambling for some rain. Still better than 90% of people. Oh well, I will take that. Rozzy, though, is into the pits from the lead. The FRL driver, 20 laps on the hards. He's not going to try and rest out to the rain that doesn't seem to be coming onto the mediums for him for the next 15 or so laps. He's going to try and get an undercut here on Mr. Ice Cold Andy. But it's Sully I want to have a look at. Where is Sully going to come out in comparison? And then, of course, Crystal is in the running with him as well, in about the same place. The LOI and the ERO driver. And it looks as if they're a little bit adrift.
The battle for P12 continues as all 3 of them battlers are coming in.
1 by 2 by 3, they all come in. None of them looking to, none of them getting held up by pit boxes, which is great to see. So it is going to be in the order and out in the order that they all came in. Palmer on the mediums, Tommy on 1 lap old hards, and Scouser on the mediums.
I'll tell you what though, which is the big shock, Liam is on softs.
Yep, he's on the softs. If he can stretch that out 16 laps, that would be incredible. But I think he is going for maybe a 2-stop strategy, or just doing a little bit of a rain dance in his front.
The fabled rain. The fabled rain.
Fabled rain. Not an uncommon thing to many that race here in CRL. Tier 3, I'm looking at you. I know they had a few seasons of dreaded rain. Rapid into the pits then. He's going to be on fresh mediums to take him to the end. AJ Wuhan following suit for the lead CRL car, currently in P8. Going to put on a fresh set of mediums and try and pull that car up as high as he can. Yellow flags.
Yellow flag.
And it's Murphy on the exit of turn 6. Looks to have had a spin, just losing it on that curb. They're catching a few people out these curbs tonight.
It's the thing with the curves here in Austria. If you catch them, you spin. But luckily, as I said earlier, because of the distance between the wall and the track and the amount of gravel which is everywhere, unless you're pretty much on that top straight, you ain't going to really crash into a wall, which is the good thing. So it's literally your tyres may die, so maybe jump back in and get a new set of tyres, or just get your head down and get going once again.
Absolutely. Anything can happen. Safety car could come out. And in worst case, you find yourself down last with nothing to race for. Stick a set of softs on, go for the fastest lap and enjoy yourself. That is, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. This battle then heating up for what is essentially P4, but could be, in fact, P3. Crystal is ahead of his teammate Ennis. Ennis on the 22-lap Old Hards, acting as a little bit of a buffer then for Sully. But you've got to admit the grip factor will, even on Hards compared to Old Hards, the grip is going to be so much in Sully's effect. Crystal going to have a great grip advantage over these pair. But Rossi, 6.8 seconds clear of his nearest effective same strategy rival. That could all change in a second. Tom GoPro, though, does put in the fastest lap for that bonus point, and Sully is having a look at Ennis side by side. Then down into turn 4 they go, making a little bit of contact, ever so slightest contact, careful not to get the wheels interlocked, and they just about avoid it and make it through unscathed. That was really... You couldn't fit a bit of paper between those two, but they made it stick, they made it work, and both cars coming out unscathed, what we love to see.
No, yeah, definitely. The amount of driving skill which is in this race today, it's been great. No matter where you go, there's been battling, and we're now entering the third chapter of this race, so the last third, and I still can't call it.
It's... yeah.
Because Andy's got to come in still. He's on 23 lap Old Hard. He's got to come in.
He's got to come in. He's going to probably come out round about Crystal, but he's going to have such a pace advantage. Or the tyre advantage. Will it be enough to pull himself back up? Kenny's on fresh mediums. ERO running pretty good here, as are LOI, both with 2 cars in the top 5, looking good on strategy. WTFL up there as well. It's the battle of, I think Draper would say, the basement boys down at the bottom between CRL and FRL. Both teams not having the greatest races here in Austria at the moment, so there'll be a battle going on between those two teams as well. But 3 teams in with the run. I say that FRL have got Rossi, who are at the top, so who am I to say? Just CRL that are misrepresented here.
Well, it's because we're not in their Scott, is what it is. We're in the comms booth. We're commentating over them. Is they ain't got me, they ain't got you. They need us. That's what it is.
That's it. That is it. Exactly. End of the day, all in the name of charity and a little bit of fun at the end of the game cycle, right at the very death of the game cycle. Big Balls chasing down Ennis in the battle for PAFL. Big Balls versus ERO Ennis. Ennis the Menace, he's nicknamed as in CRL for his antics between me and him. The famous story of him turning right on a safety car restart by accident, losing grip.
Why is it always you that seems to get caught up in this? I mean, you in NS, me and you in France, and then we got Scott's Hill in Portugal from last season.
It's just such a skilled and incredible driver that everybody battles extra hard beside me. That is what I'm putting it down to. Cross Liam is battling extra hard right now in those softs ahead of King 5 Panda for a brief second, and then makes it more than a second on the exit of turn number 3. Panda, though, has got the DRS and is going to get a run back side by side towards turn 4.
Slight contact.
Tiny bit of wheel-to-wheel contact as Gleam looks to go down the inside and has to forfeit, that's the word, the position for the mean point. The Panda, no he doesn't, down the inside into turn 6 he goes side by side once again. Panda using enough of that curb, but not too much to invalidate or to spin, and that looks to be Liam through. But Panda, he's not going to take this line down. He's going to have DRS very, very soon, and he's got a little bit more ERS in the tank, following tightly through that penultimate corner, almost pushing him around, just about makes contact and does everything he can to avoid. DRS wide open then on the back of the WTFL car, closing down, can't quite make the move. It's going to be maybe a reverse of last lap. Slim Jim picks up a 3-second time penalty for his worries. 5 drivers with penalties now at the 26th lap point of this race, as Panda has a little look around the inside, thinks better of it, backs out to try and get the DRS. Now he's going to have a run down to turn 4. The two of them really putting on a show here. 9-lap-old hards versus 6-lap-old softs. Panda going to the outside, Liam covering the inside, and it's almost deja vu here. We've seen this before, we'll see it again, and they're going to go side by side as Ice Cold Andy is into the pits for a fresh set of mediums. Well, he's going to have a major tyre advantage, and there's a spin for Murphy. Everything's happening.
Well, where have we had that before? But this battle between Liam and Panda has brought Scouser back into it as well, and Tommy is also coming back into this battle. So now we've got a 4-way battle, this time for P11, not P12.
Really, really heating up there. Yeah, like you say, Scouser and Tommy. And interestingly, all four different teams. Big Balls might drop into the mix here. He's coming out on a slightly used set of mediums. I don't think. Oh no, he's just getting. Oh, they're the ones he's coming off. Sorry, excuse that. That was. I was thinking he was further ahead than he was, so not quite able. Panda then having a look around the outside into turn 3. He's going to get the move done before the corner even approaches. But Liam, very, very brave in the braking. Here comes fake Scouser. He does it once. He does it again. The double switchback potentially. Now he's going to be side by side on the rundown to turn number 4. And looks to be ahead before the turn-in point, looks to get it done. Liam's lost out to Johnny as well. Palmer battling out with Sausage Joe. It's battles galore here, Rob, in this mid-pack. Incredible stuff.
I'm loving it. I've not moved from the mid-pack since it first started to the last bench. I've stayed here, because this is where it's been.
I must admit, I haven't watched much of what's happening up front. It hasn't been... my main concern.
Up front is nice and spaced out at the moment. We'll probably jump back on them, and one of them bottle it very shortly. But the very nice tight racing, but it is still close-ish. I mean, Andy's now dropped down to P3, Crystal now up to P2. It's going to come down to that fabled rain, Scott, and that's when things are going to shake open.
That is, how do you say, things are going to get a little bit spicy. We'll wait and see if it does come. If not, well, that could ruin a few strategies. Liam could be one of them. It's an interesting take, 8 laps on the softs. The softs not really a tyre you use much this game.
Speaking
Yellow
of which,
flags for, I'm not quite sure, I think that might be...
I think it's Slim Jim?
I think it must be Slim Jim.
I think it was Slim Jim, actually, yeah.
I was thinking there as one of the front runners put in a little bit of a damaging corner, but nope, they've made it through all right, through it the first corner, and the battle though heating up a little bit, I suppose. Mr. Ice Cold Andy, 2-lap-old mediums, Mr. ERO Crystal, 13-lap-old mediums, ERO versus LOI. Then you've got Sully of LOI just behind, and Kenny, yeah, he's a few seconds behind, but ERO, so it's if you ignore the FRL 10.3 seconds out front, it's an LOI, ERO, LOI, ERO battle for the final podium positions. 6 laps to go after this. It'll be could be a tense one.
Another spin in sector 3. I believe that is Crystal, which has gone for a tiny bit of a spin in. It is Crystal, and he's coming in 2 pits, so then meet them 13-lap-old mediums. Not holding out. Surely this is going to be a set of softs, which is going on the car.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be surprised if it isn't. We'll wait and see. Yellow flags further back. I believe that is Sausage Joe having a spin. Another yellow flag. I think that is Cross Liam. He's pulled across out of the way. I think... Has he got a puncture? I'm not too sure. I think he maybe just spun it. I think, yeah, they will be. I think he just spun it on the softs, pulled across, nearly hit the wall, and just decided to cut across the grass, keep himself out of the way. So fair enough on that. He is coming into the pits as we speak. It has been, I must admit, I'm not going to use the word disappointing, but it's not been as dramatic as I maybe expected it. The dramatic race we had in Silverstone, and then we come to
6 laps to go. And if you look at sector 3, if you look at from, because I'm on board with Rozzy at the moment, the camera for me was pointing back towards the last corner. That black cloud is coming back over the track, so the rain is coming, Scott.
It is looking a little bit darker around the circuit. There are some clouds. it might not be enough for a change of strategy, but could it be enough to just make make that track a little bit slippy, make it a little bit greasy, make it a little bit.
Don't worry, Scott. I'm already doing my rain dance. I'm already doing my rain dance.
You've got the maracas out and the lovely little Hawaiian skirt on.
I haven't got any chickens, but I will sacrifice some pigeons if I have to.
I just like to condone. CRL does not condone chicken sacrifice or pigeon sacrifice. It's of course a joke.
Yeah. Please don't come after us.
Absolutely. It is really darkening quite quick now, it must
It
be said.
is. It's getting really quick now. So my rain dance has worked.
It's definitely coming. It's just going to be a case of will it be here
When?
in time? It could be the last few laps, and that could see. Well, speaking of pigeons, a cat thrown amongst them. It must be said though, Mr. Ice Cold Andy is starting to claw down that gap from Rossi, but it might be too late for him. Crystal made the pit. He's in P9. He's going to have a little bit of a redemption to try and get up through this grid. Yellow flags in sector 2. That could be something that really does help the. I think it is Slim. Yeah, Slim having a unfortunate torrid time here. It must be said. I think he's just pushing for the fastest lap now, but. A slight safety car, Rob, could really see the rain come into play because it will stretch out the ending of this grid, of this race.
A late game safety car and this rain could really throw a spanner in the works, and it's edging closer and closer for rain. Safety car, considering the performance we've seen from 19 drivers so far, I really don't think we're going to see a safety car at this point. The talent has been great. They've all put on a good show, and it's been, apart from a few bumps, Scott, it's been really clean racing.
Yeah, there's been nothing too real untoward. It's been all pretty by the book, by the rule book, by the sport and conduct book. It's been on the edge at times, from what I've seen, but for the most part. It's been a great bit of racing. The FRL battle then. Big Balls gets ahead of Sausage Joe. I'm not going to make a joke there. We're just going to skip along. Johnny is on the back of the other teammate of FRL, Fake Scouser, currently battling out for P10 in these final few laps. Almost getting a little bit of oversteer there, does Johnny, on the exit of turn 6, spinning it right round. And almost into the wall, but does a brilliant job catching it before he does so. What are we on? We're 3 laps to go then, Rob. I don't know who, I haven't done the math. WTFL are going to be in a great position, of course, 5 and 6. They have got 3 second time penalties. It's not going to affect Rapid. It might affect Tom Ennis. Will be salivating at that. AJ Wuhan might be as well. Slim Jim does retire in the pits, so he will score nothing here this evening. Big shout out to Slim Jim, though he'd done both races. Pleasure to have you, my friend. Absolute pleasure. To
be fair, the Irish boys, they are going to be picking up a good whack of points from Austria, to be fair. 3 of them in the top 4, and then
you've been caught out by the white colours.
Oh, have I? Have I got the wrong team?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at P4.
Oh.
You're not the only one. Curly got caught out as well. Big shout out to him as well,
did.
joining me in the comms box. But yeah, but 2 of the top 3
still big points. It will help
points. It definitely could help. I'll be able to give you a rough unofficial tally, of course, folks. Everything up its side, post-steer them, because there may be the odd incident here or there that we haven't seen, or we haven't maybe picked up on, or maybe we've seen a few, 5 seconds for yellow flags or 10 seconds for corners. Maybe they might get removed. It's great to see though, Rob, the back of the grid, so many cars on fresh softs just going for that bonus point.
Why
love
not?
to see that.
Nothing else to lose. Why not, boys?
I'm just going to say this here. If Murphy pulls it from P18 and gets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, he will be an icon in CRL history. It's got to be said. Tommy is all over the rear, though, of Fake Scouser for P10, of course, worth 11 points. Just one more point for that overtake, of course, but that could be the 1 point that makes the difference. Of course, a 2-point swing, technically, you think about it that way, does make the move. Crucially, Ennis is getting caught by CRL AJ Wuhan, and both of them are slowly reeling in the back of Tom, meaning a P6 could be in the board for one of them. That could be a massive dent for WTFL's chances. They scored big points in the first race, of course, 56, I believe it was, and they are leading by a small amount. When you look at some of the points that other ones are pulling in, it could really go to every single point counts. And AJ going to try and get as many points as he can for CRL so that we don't finish last in our own event here, Rob.
Yeah. It'd be a bit of a hard thing to see the hosts.
It would be the biggest mean since you ruined Vessel turning left at a right hand corner. That would be a nice little callback there to our driver that raced the first race. Was meant to be in the grid, had to pull out, and AJ doing a tremendous job coming in.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just on board with Harry. Sector 2 spun. We were talking about CRL and bottling it. Well, Harry was certainly listening to us there, Scott.
Every time we've said something nice about him or mentioned the league,
him.
It's fell away. Crystal has got a 3 second time penalty. That's Tom. Did I see that right? Oh, that must have been Cross Liam. It was Cross Liam. I just saw I was on board with LOI Tommy and I saw a white car fly off into the gravel on the left hand side, but it was Cross Liam picks up 10. Murphy is on for P17 then as it stands, folks.
Hey!
He's on for it. AJ has got past Crystal. He has got past Ennis now on the run down to turn 4, and he'll be looking at that 3 second gap to the cars in front. But Rossi is going to come up and cross the line, takes the win for FRL. There's so many acronyms and I'm so bad with all of them. Mr. Ice Cold Andy couldn't make a dent in with that late pit stop. Does pick P2 for LOI. Sully going to come across and finish P3 on track, but loses it to ERO Kenny with Pens. Rapid then P5. Tom is going to round the final corner to take what is provisional P6, but it's going to take a big couple of turns from AJ Wuhan. Can he close down the gap and get P6? No, he cannot, which means WTFL retain that P6. Ennis in P8 and Crystal in P9 for ERO. A strong showing from those all three of the 4 in the top 10. Johnny going to round the final corner and take P10. Panda looking on for 11 ahead of Fake Scouser. Big Balls 13, the last of our lead lap ridders. Bless me, I just had the sneeze. Big Balls gonna finish P13, and Palmer, Bumpy, Sausage Joe, Cross Liam and Murphy all retiring. But that is it in Austria.
And that is it on F1 22, Scott. That is it.
It is indeed Tuesday, or is it Tuesday and Friday? Is that the dates?
Tuesday for anyone who's got the Champions Edition, and then Friday for anyone who's got the regular edition. I'll be one of the fortunate that is racing on Tuesday.
I think I've got the Tuesday, but I don't have my rig set up, so I might be back to pad. That'll be interesting.
You're going to pad and I've gone to wheel? We've switched those, mate.
I've got the wheel sitting over there, but I don't have it set up yet, so it might just have to be a bit of pad for a bit. That'll be some laugh. But back to this quickly, Rob. It is F Rossi for FRL taking the win ahead of Mr. Ice Cold Andy. P2 for LOI. ERO Kenny takes P3 from P6 in the grid. XL Sully P4 from P3 for LOI. Rapid and Tom Gove Pro 5 and 6 for WTFL. AJ stepping in as a late replacement takes P7 for CRL. Ennis Crystal 8 and 9 for ERO ahead of Johnny in P10 for LOI. Panda for WTFL in 11 ahead of Fake Scouser and Big Balls both for FRL, of course. CRL Palmer, CRL Bumpy 14, 15, Sausage Joe 16, Cross Liam 17, Murphy, Slim Jim, Alfie rounding off the grid. Of course, a few DNFs in there for them, but that is going to be it for the racing, Rob.
Yeah, we got a lot of maths to be doing behind the scenes, and that's it's a shame because let's face it, we know Cone's not won this, unfortunately. I think doing the maths, what I've been keeping up tracks with on the stream, I don't think Cone has won this.
It would take some bit of strategic accounting, I think is a good phrase for it, but no, I think Cone is well and truly out, which is a credit to the 14 leagues. The 14 leagues?
Yeah, definitely.
What am I saying? The
14
leagues. The 4. We couldn't, if we'd got 14, that would have been quite the grid. 1 driver per league and 4 commentators. That could have been quite the scenes.
That could have been definitely interesting. Get that written down, Scott. Get that written down for F123.
I'll get that in the pipework. But yeah, I think Tongo got the fastest lap there. I'm going to put it down as him. It's been a brilliant way to round off the final sort of part of the F122 season. It's been, I think, for league racing a whole, maybe a little bit of a step back, of course, the return to normality.
Yeah, a lot of people are not going to be, shall we say, they don't hold a lot of fond memories of this game.
No, it's certainly not been. There'll be very few people that say it's a favourite, but if it is your favourite, you might be sad to see it go. There is a few of us that won't be. League racing as a whole has maybe took a step back as things return to a little bit of normality, shall we say. But a lot of communities, 5 of which here tonight, are still holding it strong, and it's an absolute brilliant thing to see.
I really can't wait to see what the new game holds, not only for CRL, but obviously the other leagues as well, because new talent for new leagues, and obviously a lot of drivers race across the board, they don't just race for one, so it'll be interesting to see what happens over the course of the next 12 months. You know, in 12 months' time, Scott, we could be sat here again doing the exact same thing, and the talent may have completely changed.
Absolutely. I hope that is an accurate assumption of the future. That would be genuinely incredible if that's something we can get on the go and maybe make happen. We'll wait and see with that. I'm just double checking my maths here, I think. Oh, yep. Right. I think then I have some provisional totals, people.
Oh, Scott, don't leave me hanging, mate. What we talking? How far down the grid is CRL?
Yeah, pretty far.
Yeah, okay, so in 4th.
So, in 5th position, provisionally, of course, people, just bear this in mind, it is FRL. 63 points for them over the course of the 2 races, 21 in the first race, 42 in this race, going by my maths. This is, of course, all unofficial. Full standings results will be posted in due time. There'll be a little bit of stewarding maybe that goes on. We'll wait and see. 4th place, it's your hosts, CRL, 67 points, so only 4 ahead of FRL. 37 and 30 in the 2 races for them. 67 is the total. 3rd place, which I'm a bit surprised, a lot of people had them down as a favourite. LOI, 81 points, 34 and 47 respectively for them. Joint highest score for a single race was LOI. Interestingly, CRL had the lowest score, the lowest highest score, if that makes sense. So LOI rounding off the podium at the moment. And then 7 points separate our top 2. 1 on 91, 1 on 98.
Now, before you announce it, I just want to take a guess at which one is on the top, and I'm going to go with WTFL. I've got a feeling they may have pipped it at the last second.
Well, you would be correct. Judging by my maths, all provisionally, of course, WTFL 98 points, ERO 91 points. So, provisional congratulations to WTFL, of course. It was great to have them here, as well as our 4 other leagues. In at the event tonight. I'm just going to put this out here as well. If any of our team are you able to invite Jay Hartnell, Cross Liam, Curley, and Not Jack? Is that something you could possibly do while I waffle on?
I'll certainly take a look to see if I definitely can do that for you. Normally John does that in tier 2, but I will definitely take a look for you.
Brilliant. I'll have a little look myself while I waffle in the background. Hopefully you might just see a blue screen here, folks, but we'll wait and see. Currently, if you're listening, feel free to join back for the party for a quick little chat. We'll get a sort of little rundown, but I'm just going to start off. Thank you. First of all, Nathan, Jacob and Dan have done a great big thing on the CRL side of things, of getting things organised and getting things sort of put into place. So, first of all, a hats off to those 3, because this event would not have happened if it hadn't have been for them. Secondly, those 4 that I just named, Jay Hartnell from FRL, Cross Liam from ERO, WTFL, Curly, and of course LOI Not Jack. Those 4 put in a great bit of work, getting a team together, committing drivers to this, and being able to show up with some, I think there was 6 was the lowest amount, between 6 and 8 drivers, all willing to come together, have a bit of a race, have a bit of a laugh, and enjoy
Who was the ones again? Sorry to interrupt, Scott. Who was the ones you said again to add? I got Liam.
FRL J Hartnell, yeah, ERO Cross Liam, WTFL Curly, and LOI Not Jack. If we can try and get them in just for a quick little before my voice goes. But yeah, run that off. Thanks to those four for driving tonight. Not just driving, for organising everything for this event. We'll see. I've got another little list that I was wanting to thank before I got. Oh, I've lost myself here. This is why I need my OBS back. I'm terrible without it. Terrible organisation skills.
Imagine get ERO Liam.
Said. We'll see if any of them can want to join for a quick chat. But yeah, and a big, I suppose I'll round it off quickly, a big shout out to all our drivers, and particularly to Curly and Rob for joining me in the comms box. But last but not least, I think the people that I need to thank the most is every single one of you that not just tuned in, but also put your hand in your pocket, put your hand into your virtual hand into your virtual PayPal or any other cash app that you may choose to use, because we are currently sitting at a total of £208 raised for the Mind charity. An absolute amazing total. Big shout out to everybody who's rotated since I last did a little read out. Nathan B with an extra little donation, Mr. BT Ben, love that. Rotation saying remember to hydrate, putting a donation in. Pancake, of course, racing tonight, and Manchester's finest, he's called himself Harry Palmer, putting some money in. A big shout out to all of you. £208, Rob, for
It's great. It's absolutely great to see that much raised. I mean, if I had some spare cash available at the moment, I would put some in today, but I would put some in come payday at the end of the month for me. Speaking of which, I've managed to get Liam in, but however, that was the only person that I could seem to find on my PlayStation for some reason.
I did have a look as well. I struggled to find LOI, so I think we'll maybe just. I'll be honest with you. I've been here quite a little bit.
You've made to do 2 races back to back. I mean, that's essentially done a full race. It's like when I did the Imola one. I know exactly how you feel.
It's crazy. So I think we'll round it off here for the stream tonight. Rob, thank you for joining me for the second race. Curly.
Yeah, anytime, mate. You know that.
Curly, thank you for joining me for the first race. Thank you to everybody that I mentioned before. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember, the link will still be there for the coming few days at least. I'm not too sure. There will be a time limit as such, but normally these things run on a little bit after even your closing date of your event. I think it is 3 months, so if there is any more to give, we do highly encourage it, but we thank everybody that has gave something. I've been CRL Freefall. Thank you for joining me, not just tonight, for a number of times in CRL channel for the F1 22 game. And I will see you in the coming months for F1 23. Let's get the hype going. Season 9, baby.
Can't wait. Genuinely can't wait. Vegas, baby. Vegas.
Oh, that'll be an interesting one to commentate. But yes, all that's left to say is thank you for joining us once again, and have a very good rest of your evening.